And so I went ahead and hit record. We are now recording. Don't say anything you don't want recorded. But one of the things I'm going to do is share with you some data that we've collected. We've done this several years now, and the data that we've done is we've done a comparison between the annual buy. Let me get my video back up here, get the right screen. What we've done is taken 152 items from the 2016 catalog, and we did a comparison of annual buy items to other items that are available in the marketplace year-round, and just done a price comparison on those 152 items. What we found was the average difference in markup was 63%, and your average savings on those items was 33%. So what we're saying here is comparing the year-round catalogs versus the annual buy catalogs, you're going to get an additional 33% discount on average when you use that annual buy catalog. Now that's not always true. You know, if you scroll down here and look at our data, there are a few items that are cheaper in the year-round catalog versus the annual buy, but they're very few. But on average of the 152 items, we're going to save you an additional 33%. Now this is on top of the savings that we already save, and annual buy, we've always said that you are going to save 30 to 75% on the annual buy, and so that's off list. And you know, it's always hard to collect that data, but we've done some comparisons for you. You are going to get the biggest bang for your buck when you utilize the annual buy. So just wanted to share that with you. If you'd like to have today's speaking notes, I do have those in a Word document that I can send to you. Just drop me an email at craig.peterson@esucc.org, and I can send those over to you. So with that said, we'll have a link to this data if you'd like to look at it, and you can jump in there and take a look at those. Want to start out with just contact information for ESU-CC Co-op. We do have two websites. The ESU-CC website, if you go there, esucc.org, staff is going to be listed under the Contact Us. And this is the whole ESU-CC organization. But also, if you land on this page and want to get to the co-op website, if you go to projects and then co-op purchasing, it'll give you a brief description of the co-op purchasing project. But down here in blue or purple, you're going to see a link to the co-op purchasing website. If you click on that, it's going to take you over to our website at www.nesucoop.org. And once you land on this page, you're going to see a lot of information. We've had this website up for many years, so that's a reason why we kept it separate. We just have a lot of content over here. But you're going to see staff information listed here on the website, contact information. David Ludwig is our Executive Director for ESU-CC. I am the Project Director for Co-op Purchasing. We also have with us today on call, I believe, yes she is, Priscilla Quintana, who's our Business Manager. Priscilla is part-time co-op and part-time ESU-CC Business Manager. And then Colleen Lentz is our Programs Assistant. And so if you call in asking questions, a lot of times Colleen will answer the phone in the Ainsworth office. My office is located in Holdridge, so I do have a different number, but all the contact information is on that page there if you need to get a hold of us. All right. The other thing we have on the website is our co-op calendar, and we have dates listed in multiple places, but if you click on the co-op calendar, you get a running dynamic calendar from Google of all the dates that we have on the calendar. Those are available. But also up under member procurement, we have a number of resources available for you there. And if you go down to the annual buy, we're going to list the annual buy dates there. And so we'll go into that. You'll see the dates listed here for the timeline. That's for the annual buy. Scroll on down, I'll see the dates, opening dates for the paper buy here. The other place we list dates is right in the marketplace now. A little over just about 2 weeks ago, we had a new release in the marketplace. And if I jump over into the marketplace, one of the things that we're able to do is what they call right side content. While you are in the marketplace, you will see these dates on the right hand side. So they're listed also there. So many places where you can find the dates. And then maybe that's just a good lead into what are the opening dates. So for the co-op paper, the catalog will open on February 2nd. So we're working on those catalogs, or on that catalog, trying to get that ready to go for the 2nd. The order deadline will be March 14th. And then on March 19th, we'll run order aggregation by address. And what that means for the new people is we're going to take all those items that multiple people have ordered, but they're the same items. So take number 2 pencils as an example. We take everybody that ordered number 2 pencils in that ship to address. We're going to aggregate those into one line item and send that total to the vendor. So taking 10 people that order number 2 pencils, rather than sending them 10 different lines of number 2 pencils, we send them one line with the aggregate total of those 10 lines. And so that's where we save dollars for the school districts. Those vendors then only have to pick that item one time instead of 10 different times for your district. And so that's why we're able to get additional discounts. One of the reasons why we can get additional discounts on these items. So March 19th will be that order aggregation. March 19th through the 20th, then after that aggregation runs, you're going to be able to review your orders and assign a real PO on those orders before they're sent to the vendor. Now, during the paper buy, that's maybe not as important, but when you get into the annual buy, you definitely are going to want to review those and make sure you assign the real PO that goes to those vendors. So what happens on that order aggregation process, those 10 teachers that ordered number 2 pencils, if they put a PO number in, when they checked out, it's going to choose that first PO for the aggregate or the aggregation, and that's what they're going to send to the vendor. So a lot of schools, what they'll do is they'll assign a generic PO, maybe have them put their name in there. And then as the business manager approves it, before they approve it, after order aggregation, actually it's after they've approved it, order aggregation has happened, they go in and they have this period of time that they can assign a real PO. And so that's when you want to get one from your accounting system and assign. All right. Any questions on that? I know that's, until you actually see how the process works, sometimes it's kind of hard to understand. So, and then on March 21st, we're going to release those orders to the vendors. Delivery begins on April 11th for paper. I will mention this year we have one vendor for paper, and that's Sanger. They won all the papers, so it's going to make it a little easier to order paper this year because of that, especially on checkout. So annual buy dates, February 19th, we're going to open up the catalog, and April 12th will be the deadline for teachers and your orders to be submitted. Then April 16th, we'll run that order aggregation. And then you have April 17th through the 20th to where you can go in and assign those POs that you want to. And the annual buy is probably a little bit different because you may have teachers in your system, and so you're going to want to assign those real POs instead of generic ones. And it ties it to all those aggregate line items then. Your PO then would have to have a breakdown of the budget codes on it then if you wanted. So we're working with Equal Level. We still haven't convinced them that we need that. We haven't gotten in any feature in the marketplace to where a teacher can enter a budget code in each line item. We're just not there yet. I'm hoping that we get that here soon and eventually, but it's not been released. So April 23rd, we released those orders to the vendors, and then May 23rd is the delivery date this year. This is a week later. Last year we had schools still in session, so we listened, we adjusted the calendar and moved it back a week, and so that way hopefully most all schools are out. I know some schools like to receive that product early, others do not, so we tried to get it moved back so it doesn't affect those that do not want it. So last day for delivery then is we move that date back, is July 23rd. So those are your calendar dates. The website, I will continue with that. Under member procurement, like I said, there's a number of resources available to you. One of those is specific to the annual buy. And so if you click on that link, you're going to get a lot of information for the annual buy. Again, the timelines are there, order specifications, and delivery. You should have a 24 to 48 hour notice for deliveries. That doesn't always happen. A lot of times the freight companies don't read their freight tickets. It's not always the vendor that is not calling, it's the freight companies. So they will typically have it on their freight ticket. They just don't read it for some reason. So vendor contact information will be listed here. So if you need to contact any of the vendors on the annual buy, and this is just the annual buy, you can click on this link. It'll take you to a Google Doc, and your customer support number will be over here. This is 2017 information. We will be updating this information with the 2018, but you can see the contact information then for customer support. That would be the first one to contact. And so if you have any discrepancies with shipping, damages, you know, maybe you're short on items, here are the contacts you need to actually reach out to and report that to. So vendor W-9s, we will be updating those also, but those will be available. And we're going to pull that information from our sourcing solution, because I know there's some of these that are outdated back to 2014. So we're going to get those updated. Annual buy discrepancy form, that's this link here. What we've done here is for those, if I can get to the link without clicking on it, highlight it. So annual buy discrepancy reporting form. What this is just a link to a form that you can utilize if you choose, but it's in order to report items that may be damaged, maybe you're short on a packing slip or something. It's something that ESUs used when we warehoused those items and received those in. This is the form that we actually use to report damages and shortages. You just fill it out. It's all the information you need: school name, co-op number, item description, vendor name, quantity and packaging, and what is the discrepancy. You know, so I received 10, or I ordered 10 of these widgets. I only received 8 of those, so I'm too short. And then what's the recommended discrepancy resolution? So please ship me 2 additional of this item. And so it's just a way for you to document some of this information, and you can put it in a 3-ring binder or something, and then go back at the end of the year to see if you receive these shortages or these damaged replacements that you need. So maybe you received an overshipment of items and you received extra, so you might want to report that to the vendor too, so they can send a call tag out for that extra product. And I would report that, because they may realize they've done that, and if they've overshipped you, then they may invoice you for it unless you return it. So annual buy discrepancy is listed there. The co-op catalog updates and changes. This is a link. So as you're receiving product in, maybe you receive this camera in, and in the catalog we said it was a Nikon L840, and you received a Nikon B500. Well, that doesn't match your product description that was in the catalog, so you should question that. This would be the first place to come and look to see if there's been a discontinuation of a model or something, and they've substituted another model. And so we list that information here. Again, this is last year's information. We'll update this to the new and link this, but what we've done is we've given a description of the update or change, and that's exactly what happened here. The Nikon L840 was discontinued. They substituted the B500. They have to go through co-op first before they can do this, and we have to approve that substitution. So make sure that it says approved in this column. Otherwise, you're going to want to hold on to that and contact the vendor before you send that out to one of your teachers. For instance, last year we had these DVD CD players that were not up to specifications. They were missing one item on the specifications or something, and so we gave the vendor or the school districts the option to accept this substitute or canceling it. So that's why we put optional there. So that's where we update all the information and changes for the annual buy. And the last link is just a link to any product. As you're ordering, maybe we don't have something in the catalog. This is a form you can go fill out and suggest items for next year. Maybe we don't list the chair that you want or something within your school district. This is where you can go in and actually submit that. The possibility is that we may have it in the catalog or in our specifications already. We just didn't receive any bids for it, and that's why it may not be in the catalog. So that's the annual buy resource page. So a lot of information there. Utilize it. If you have any questions, let us know. The other resources that I will point to are under the marketplace resources. And this is where we have a number of videos listed that you may want to go back. And so we have some short snippets of videos. And so if you want to see how to register new users, we have that listed here, and it's a 4-minute video you can watch. Or if you want to point your teachers to a video, there's a couple of them. If you only want teachers to order from the annual buy, I would say utilize the second one that's 8 minutes long, Shopping from the Annual Buy Store for Teachers and Staff. That'll give them a quick 8-minute overview of how to place an order. But if you want to go a little bit deeper and show them how to utilize the full marketplace with the year-round catalogs and the annual buy, then the longer version is probably the one you'd point them to. So there's 2 videos there that you can utilize with your teachers if you have teachers logging into the marketplace. We also have the scheduled training dates, and I did finally get a good recording yesterday on the training at ESU 17, so you can go back and watch that if you need to. And so if you said, Craig said something during training, hope is that we'll have a good training or a good recording today too, and I'll be able to upload the ESU 8 one also. And so you'll see that listed here when that's done and complete. So those are that's the resource page. Let us know if there's something missing that you think needs to be added. I can do a quick video and throw it up there. I do know one that we utilize is creating labels from a mail merge. We do not have that listed here, so that may be one that I record this year and put up here. And so what that is just when you receive product in, I have labels pre-generated that I can peel off and stick on that item so I know what teacher it goes to. I can slide those items over maybe and have a custodian deliver them to their classrooms or something. So I know that probably doesn't happen. You guys are probably the ones that are delivering those, but I know at least yesterday they chuckled when I said that, and they said that don't happen in our schools. So I know there's probably some that it will, or maybe a high school student. And so if we do that, I'll put that up here and list it here. So with that, we're down to going into the marketplace and highlighting that. For new users, you can always access the marketplace. We have a marketplace button here. You can access that from our website. Teachers, if you have new teachers that need to register, that's the first thing I'm going to show you how to do. And so have them, point them to our website, come in here, click on the ESU Marketplace page or button. It'll take you to this login page. And this is where I would tell teachers, and I would always just save yourself some headache. Have teachers or users register themselves. And then if you need to adjust their roles within the district, maybe it's a principal that needs to be an approver, then you can go in as an agency admin and adjust those roles. So most of the people here today have agency admin access. And what that means is you can add users to your district, you can add addresses, and you can change passwords for those users. So those are the main things that you're able to do. So on this login page, if I have new users, tell them to come to the register here link. And if I click on that, the agency name, if I start typing the school district name, it's going to start auto-completing. And when I do that, all school districts in the state should be listed. If your school district name needs to be changed for consolidation reasons or something, let us know. But Boyd County, I see them in the list. I can select them. And then all I have to do is fill out email address, first name, last name, title, position, phone number, password, and confirm password. When I hit register, what it does is it looks to see if we have that user's email domain. So anything after the @ sign. If we have that in a whitelist, it's automatically going to accept it. So tell your users to make sure they utilize the school domain. If they utilize a gmail.com or a yahoo.com email address, we won't enable that account until we talk with the school district, and then we'll encourage you to change that account to the school district email address. And that's for protection of the district. That way, if they leave the district, you have control of that email address. And that user would not be able to come in and do a password reset and receive that email reset. So, and we'll show you how to disable accounts in the marketplace later on. But that's our recommendation. So once they receive, once they hit register, they will receive an email then to confirm their password. They have to click on that confirm password link. Once they've done that, they're able to turn back around and log back into the system. If we don't have your email domain listed in our whitelist, we'll get an email about it. We have to approve it. We will add that to the whitelist after we verify that that is an active email domain. So usually we'll go out to the website, make sure that that's the email address or the domain that the school district is utilizing. So, so that's registering users. If you have users that forgot their password, they can recover it themselves rather than coming to you. And I would recommend, again, trying to keep the workload off yourselves. Come in here and click on the forgot password link, and they enter their email address that they registered with and hit submit, and they'll get a password reset email. And so then they go check their email, they get a link, they can go in and change their password then. Again, I would suggest pointing your users that way rather than you going in and changing it for them. But there may be a point where they've done that 3 times and they still can't get in. And so you need to help them with that. And it may be that they had cap locks on and didn't realize it or something like that. So So that's registering new users. Let me just make sure I'm hitting everything. One of the things I do want to make sure that you are looking at, and so go ahead and log into the marketplace if you have access to it today. And what I want you to do is I'm going to hop over to our demo site and show it here because it looks a little bit different as a business manager. If you come up to admin, click on admin. This is where you're going to find all your controls for an agency admin. If you do not have the admin menu up in the upper right hand corner, then we need to adjust your roles if you need those roles for your district. Click on admin, come down to account management, and go to account users. This is where you can very quickly look at your users in your system, see if their email addresses are correct for your school district, and then you can see what kind of roles that they have been assigned. And so you can see an agency admin role, which means I can add users, add addresses, and change passwords. An approver means that they're going to be able to approve a requisition. A shopper is simply that they can shop in the marketplace and they can check that cart out. If they only have user roles, then we probably need to take a look at that and decide why they only have a user role and enable the shopper role for that user. And you can do that by coming in here, clicking on the pencil icon on the left-hand side to edit that user, and you can say, give them approver roles, or give them agency admin roles, or give them the shopper role. You can adjust those. Be careful on who you give agency admin roles to. Approvers would be like your superintendents and principals. Typically, our agency admins are the secretaries and or the business managers. Once in a while, we add an agency admin as an IT person sometimes, but be careful on who you give that to because they can go in and make some changes that you may not want. So I'm not going to update that user. You can export your users, and so if you have users that are no longer active in your district, this is what I would suggest you do. Go ahead and export those users. You're going to be able to save that as a CSV. Then I would save that, open that file then, and then just remove the ones that you want to keep active. And maybe I want to resize all this, but I would remove those that I want to keep active, so maybe delete those. But the ones I want deleted, leave in there and send that list to us. Send it to coop@esucc.org. We are the only ones that can delete users, but you can make users inactive. So I'll show you how to do that. So you can see everything in this file about that user, basically, or all of your users. So there's a lot of information there, but that'd be one way to send us, an updated list to say, delete these users. Well, I didn't want to do that. Cancel. Don't save. There we go. All right. In order to disable users, maybe they've left the district and you don't want them to come in and log into the marketplace. Come in and edit that user by clicking on the pencil icon on the left-hand side. You can make that user inactive up here. And I would suggest you just do that as you have teachers, administrators, whoever leave the district. If they're involved in an approval chain or something, it will not allow you to make them inactive until we remove them from the approval chain. So then we either need to substitute that user's information with the new users, or add a new user and add them to the approval chain. The easiest way to do that, say I have a principal that left the district that was an approver, what I'd do is I'd come into my user list here and say Ron left the district and there's a new user. I'd come in and edit that person. I would change their email address to the new person's email address. update the first and last name and the phone number if needed, and then say update user. When I do that, then it takes care of all the approval chains for you. You don't need to contact us to update the approval chain. It did it automatically. And so that's the easiest way. But if you had a new user that went ahead and created an account, then you will have to contact us and say, you know, will you remove Ron Alexander from our approval chain and add this person? And so you'll need to let us know that. Questions on this? I mean, this is kind of an important piece, so I just want to pause here and see if there are any questions. None on users? Okay. All right, so the next part I want to go over is just kind of a highlight, an overview of changes in the marketplace since last year. And so if I go back to my home page, we have changes. One of those changes is what we call a vendor profile. And most of you probably have seen this, and I'm going to hop back over to our I'm going to close this one out. Too many tabs open here. Hop over into our production site here. So a vendor profile is going to give us information about that vendor to include what type of contract it is, an overview of the contract, what co-op or contract type it was. Maybe it's a national contract versus a Nebraska ESU CC contract. So in order to access each one of these vendors' contract information, we can click on the vendor logo. And when I do that, make sure it's not one of these icons down below, but a vendor logo. When I do that, I get an overview of the contract. So it talks a little bit about a little marketing spiel about that vendor and so forth, what maybe they're offering. You know, this one offers free trials, so you can contact this person. And these are the products that they offer. Learn 360 right now is being offered through the ESUs, but they also offer these other products. And then just supplier information, basic information, pricing and how to order, so you can place your order through the ESU CC marketplace here. So we just kind of explain this contract to you. If they have a website, we've linked you know, to a couple different websites. Sometimes they have a different landing page for the contract, so they'll put that here, and what categories it falls in. But on the right-hand side, there's a number of things that we can do. We can click on the link to shop through that catalog, and it'll take us out to that store then, and we can order that product. This particular one takes you to an ESU CC store where we have multiple vendors in, or you can request a quote from that vendor. We also list documents to include the contract. And so if I wanted to view the contract for this for maybe audit purposes, I could pull this information up and actually have a copy on hand for our auditor if they wanted to see this contract, why we purchased from this contract. So that's available right in the marketplace. And oftentimes the vendor will give us a flyer about the product, an overview of it. We utilize this a lot at conferences. We use those flyers, but we also put it in the marketplace for you. And then the sales contact. This is the person that you're going to want to, on the right-hand side, to reach out to if you have questions about this contract. All that contract information is there. Maybe I placed an order through Quill, and for some reason something's wrong with that order and I need to cancel something on that order. I'd come in here very quickly right after I realized it and then reach out to Emma to see if they can cancel that order. So that contact information is listed there. So that was a new update this last year. Sometimes we will, and I'm trying to think, we'll list W-9 information in there if we have it for that vendor. If you need W-9 information and it's not showing up there, let us know. We may have that, and we can put it up there then too. So the other one that changed was they added a button up here for supplier sites, and really this is all those vendors that have items in a catalog that can be ordered today or shoppable items, for lack of better terms. And so I can choose one of these vendors and go to that shopping site. And so if I click on Insight, and I'll do that. It took a little while to load the other day. Click on Insight, which I have to go out to there and punch out to their website to actually search their site. And then I have to figure out how do I search their site. So I'm really punched out to this vendor's website, ordering from their site, but when I check out, it's going to transfer items back into our marketplace. So if I do if I'm looking for a mouse, I can search for that. It's going to search their site. It comes up with all the mice that they have. And so then I can actually add these to my cart, find a cheap one here. So there's one, $4.67. I'm going to add that to my cart. When I add it to the cart, then I have to check out of this site to transfer it back into the marketplace. So I go up to their cart, view their cart, and proceed to check out. Submit, so I have to hit a couple times. And when I did that, it transferred that item back into my shopping cart. So here's my cart. It's always going to be the last item, and the last thing you add is going to be at the bottom of the list. So that's supplier sites. That was added. So it's kind of a shortcut to all the vendors down here. You can also go to those vendors. I could have just as easily come down to Insight, clicked on the globe, and went to that vendor's website also. So another item that was added, they call it Manager Designee. So if I go into my admin and go over to user management, say maybe I work in a department, we already have our, and I want to go to users. Yours looks a little bit different than mine, but maybe I want to add a person into the approval chain. So I'm a department chair maybe, and I want it to go to the department chair first of all my staff members down below me. So I would have to come in and edit that person, and I'm going to go ahead and edit Lonnie Abbott. And by doing that, there is this button down here that says manager, and I can browse users then, and I can select an approver. So that user has to be an approver. So if I selected Shane Alexander, it would insert him as an approver in here. And when I hit update user, what that did is it inserted Shane as an approver for this user, Lonnie. And so everything would go to Shane first. Once Shane approves it, then it goes into the approval chain and on up the chain then. So it's adding another level that you have control of within your district. I would use it sparingly. It's those few people in your district. You know, maybe it's the superintendent's office. Typically, you bypass the principals though on that approval chain, but maybe not. And so maybe you insert somebody in the superintendent's office in there. So, and maybe that's a bad example, but maybe the transportation director, his staff, his or her staff would need to be inserted here. So that was added this last year. I don't want to save those changes because I'm on the live site. That's a new update. Category homepage. This is somewhat new, and so we added a category called ESU-CC. We're just able to add content in here is all, and so we list ESU-CC catalogs and everything dealing with that, and then scrolling down we can see all the 3 different stores that are available through ESU-CC. You may have noticed that or not, but it's there. It's new. One of the other things that we changed at the very end last year, and I'm jumping over to our demo site to show you, is we added this button that says Shop Annual Buy. We're going to do that again this year. By adding this button, we hopefully are getting those teachers to say, we told them to go to the ESU CC 2017 annual buy store, but they didn't. They ordered from, school specialty, and it showed up a day later or 2 days later. And so they ordered from those year-round catalogs instead of the annual buy catalog. So what we did is last couple weeks, we threw in this shop annual buy button and directed users there. We got good feedback from it, so we're going to add that in this year again. So if you only want your teachers to order from the annual buy, then tell them, make sure to click on this button. It takes them out to the annual buy store, and then search from there. Anytime I go out to one of these stores hosted with Equal Level, I have this link to be able to go back to the marketplace. It's got a yellow banner on it up at the top. And so if I click on that link, it'll take me back into the marketplace. So you noticed it took me back into our production site though. So I got to hit the back buttons to get to my demo there. Okay. So that we're going to utilize. Any questions on these updates? Not hearing any. I'll move on then. Very recently, we received some additional updates, and those updates, I'm going to 8.1 was released 2 weeks ago. So if you haven't logged into the marketplace within the last 2 weeks, you probably haven't noticed these changes. But it's really more interface changes. So renaming of menus, just giving a general overall aesthetics, better view of these items. So one of the first ones is the marketplace link up above here has been removed. So there used to be a link here that you could click and get back to this home page. Maybe I'm over in admin. Now to get back, if you just click on the logo, it'll take you back to the home page. As long as you haven't changed your categories over here. If I switch categories, come over here, hit home, it does take me back to the home. So I had to test that. I guess I hadn't looked at that. So it will take you back to this home page always. So remember that logo, upper left-hand corner. The user display username is now displayed here. If I want to edit my profile, I can, but you're also going to find the sign out button underneath your user profile name. So if I come into my profile, maybe I want to change my password. I think maybe it's been compromised or something. I can come in here and click on the edit pencil up above here and change my password. Old password, you got to know it. New password, confirm password. If you don't know your old password, log out of the system and do a password recovery from the login page then. So that's user info. I can update any of this information. Addresses, I can set default addresses. So maybe there's 6 different addresses in the district. I can choose one default shipping address in the district. If I click the pencil, it'll bring up a browse button. I can browse all the addresses in the district. Now, again, agency admins are the only one that can add addresses. This is for your protection, so we don't have teachers coming in here adding addresses and shipping to their home address tax exempt. So you can choose your default addresses here. You just choose one of them, and so if I choose Holdridge, update default addresses, and that's there. Likewise, I can do the same thing for billing addresses. I can, if I'm an agency admin, I can set up a new address here. Credit cards. I can store credit cards in the system. I probably would not recommend necessarily doing that. And I just don't recommend utilizing the credit card that much in the marketplace. There's not many vendors that actually accept it. And we'll show that in when we go to checkout later, so how that's handled. But you can store a credit card right here in the marketplace. And it is encrypted, so it's, there shouldn't be any worries there. So that's user profile. The shopping cart icon up above, you notice Right now, there's a bubble there. That bubble has 11 in it. I can tell just by looking at that blue bubble that I've got 11 items in my shopping cart right now. If I mouse over that shopping cart icon, I then see the dollar amount that is listed in my cart right now. I also see shopping lists. Now, shopping lists are things that you can set up and save to shop for later. This works well if you have something that you order every month. And so for every month, I'm going to order toner cartridge maybe. I can set up a shopping list called toner. And then I can list all the toner cartridges our district orders. And have those in a pre-populated list. I can go into that shopping list, choose that shopping list, select those items out of the list that I want to add to my cart, and then add those to my cart. So it's a good way to save those items if you're continuously reordering. So, okay. The other changes that were made, the My Orders tab was renamed to Requisitions. So if you click into Requisitions, these are going to be requisitions that you have some part in. So it may be a requisition that you've actually submitted yourself. As teachers, they would see their own requisitions. As an approver, you're going to see requisitions that you need to approve here or have approved in the past. And so, but in the requisitions table here, you're going to see those. You can go back and look at those either in PDF or view them live by selecting the icon here. You're going to see the status of those requisitions, whether they're approved or denied. So teachers will be able to come in here and see, oh, this one was denied, wonder why, it was a test order or something. But you can do that. You can also see then orders that actually and have been sent and confirmed. So that teacher then can see if their order or the requisition's been approved, if it's actually been sent to the vendor, and they can get status updates from that here. So that's new a little bit. They also renamed the My Requests to Quotes up here, and so I can do quote requests if I want to. This just lists those quotes that I've already done, and so I won't go into quote requests, but typically if you're doing IT projects, when I was involved in IT, we would rewire closets. We would order 100 Ethernet cables to do those closets. The single price is in the catalog here, but when you order multiples and quantities like that, over 100, maybe sometimes over 20, it may benefit your district to do a quote request and get additional discounts based on the quantities that you're ordering that time. So IT people utilize that more so probably. So, but that's been renamed. And then you're going to see different things like the bubbles or badges that they've included here under the shopping cart. So other things that they've done, improvements here on the home page. One of the things they've done is have the capability of subcategories. The only example I can give you on our site right now is we set this up a long time ago, but it didn't benefit us. Well, it does now. So if I want to look at the athletics category, I want to see all those vendors involved in athletics. And these are the athletic vendors right now. This is what we've categorized as athletic vendors. But now we have subcategories available to us. So if I want to look at athletic lighting, I can drill down into and see who is the athletic lighting vendor, or who offers athletic surfaces, whether that's a track, synthetic turf, or hard court surfaces. We have all of those listed here. Maybe it's somebody that offers scoreboards and marquees. So Daktronics is our vendor that is available for that. Synthetic turf is listed, so those are our synthetic turf companies, and then tracks and courts. So we do have those categorized, and so you can come in and look at that. They did remove an all suppliers button but they've added the category all suppliers. And so if you click on that all suppliers category, you get some different capabilities here. You are able to filter based on these check boxes up here. So if I want to look at vendors that have shoppable sites or supplier sites that I can shop from, I can narrow that down very quickly here. So I know all these vendors, I can order something from their store, punch out, whatever it may be today. Maybe I'm looking for those vendors that have search capabilities enabled. So when I come up here to this top search bar and I enter in pencils, it is only going to search across these there was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 catalogs available that we can do a search across all the catalogs. There's 10 catalogs that'll do that, and these are the ones. How do I identify that in the home page? Very easy. If I go back to the home page, any vendor that has the magnifying glass, I know that I can search across that from up above. Now you notice the annual buy and paper catalog we can't. So we have to actually punch out to those stores to search those items. That's because of the way these catalogs are multi-vendor catalogs, and we can't enable the search on that. Another thing that Equal Level is working on. So hopefully that'll be enabled soon. Excuse me. So, all right, I'm losing my place in my document here. Let me find where I was at. Oh, the next thing that they added, I mentioned this earlier, is this right side content. You're also going to see a Twitter feed here. So if you want to follow ESU CC, this is all of ESU CC. So anytime any department makes a post, it comes across this Twitter feed. So you can follow @ESU CC, and you'll see some co-op items and you'll see some blend ed items. But that's the Twitter feed that you can keep up to date on. Just follow us at ESUCC from Twitter then. So that's on the left or right hand side. One other thing on that content, and I'm jumping over to our demo site to show you this. If you are an approver, you're going to see requisitions to approve in that right side content right here. And so I can come in here very quickly when I log in, and I can see my list. I say, oh, yeah, I've got some to approve. I can go directly to a requisition if I click on that requisition, or I can view all the requisitions. If I click View All, what it's going to do is it's going to give me a list of those that need to be approved. I can see the Approve button on the right-hand side or the Deny button. Just looking at this, if I don't have any questions about it, I can hit Approve. But if I want to edit that requisition, I can come in here, click Edit. I can see what the approval chain is up above here. So this is one way you can check your own approval chains. You have to have one requisition first before you can do it. You can also click on the details page and see any requisition changes that have been made. So you can see item quantities changed by the business manager from 1 to 2. And in order to do that, I can scroll down here and say, you know, we don't need 2 of these. I'm going to update these quantities. And so when I click update, I can give a reason. So maybe we have some of these in the janitor's closet down in the gym, and I can put that reason in here, and that user that requested it will see that, you know, and then hit submit. When I do that, it doesn't approve it yet, so I've still not approved this. Then I have to go back and approve or deny that requisition, but it did update the quantities. So that's how you edit those. If it's a true punch out, you will not be able to update quantities. You have to actually remove that item and then go back out and shop for it again. And so if you want to increase quantities, you'll have to have that user probably go reshop. So that's only if it's a true punch out. So, and I, you know, there's not an easy way to tell you what those are. So all suppliers. We showed that. Another thing, if I do a search up here, this has been added recently also. So if I do a search on pencils, when I do that search, we get a menu item. Hit search. It's searching. And so when I've done that, I get these breadcrumb menus up above in the upper left-hand corner. If I choose to click on one of these items, that breadcrumb then expands out to the vendor name. And so then if I want to get back to my search results, I can always come up to my breadcrumbs here and get back to my search results and go back to that previous menu. So it's a way to navigate back in the system. Right now, it's mainly on the search criteria. So when I search for something, I will see that. So another thing that they changed, and let me jump back over to my production site. I can show it easier over here. In the shopping cart, if I go in and look at that shopping cart, what they did is they added the images if they are not a punch out. So now I can see that these quantities are not, I can't update this quantity. I know this is a punch out with school specialty. The images don't come back from that site when I punch out to them, but these items from M&J did, and they come back. And so you see that right in the shopping cart. You may see some images and you may not. They also removed the columns for the supplier and part number and moved those items underneath. And so there used to be columns here for the supplier part number and the supplier themselves, but they just moved that information down underneath the item itself. So changed a little bit, not big. So another thing that they did, they improved the search capability. And so the way search used to work, if I search for this part number and it had a hyphen in it, it would only search for 07-7356. New algorithm, it's going to look at that part number and it's going to try and pull it apart and try and figure out. So it's also going to search on 07-7356 with no hyphen. It may search on 07 space 7356. And so it's improved the search capabilities within the marketplace. And so hopefully you'll see better results when you do that. When you do a search, you will also notice, so if I do this search, well, it didn't do it on that one. Do this. If I do a search for sit to stand desks, maybe, you notice it's progressing, it's continuing this search. These are cached results. Somebody's already searched on these items. It's going out and searching additional deeper into the cross catalogs, I guess, or those vendors that have search capability turned on. And so it's really going out and doing a deeper search now. And when it's finished, you can click this link to update your results. So right now, initially it was probably not 186 items or 619 items, I guess. So then it expanded from 619 to 827. So it did find some additional items in this search. Again, that's an improvement that they've added just recently. The thing that they've added is over in the requisitions table. In the past, they did not have a supplier listed here, so you were able to really quickly see, who you ordered these on these requisitions from. They've added the suppliers that are listed there now. If it's only one supplier, it's listed as their name. But if you scroll down here, if you have multiple suppliers, you're going to see that it's listed as 3. If I mouse over that, I get a pop-up and it tells me independent stationers, Staples, and school specialty are the ones that I ordered from on that. So new improvement just to the interface. Another one that they did, and I don't have an example of this but it's in the email. So when you receive an email and you are an approver, you're going to receive an email stating that you have a requisition to approve. What they were seeing is on mobile devices, users were having a tough time. They had a CAPTCHA included in that. And so they had a tough time being able to check that CAPTCHA box and be able to approve it from a mobile device. So they removed the CAPTCHA, it's no longer there. So approval by email is now easier again, as it was not previously that easy. So they heard and listened to users and realized that that was an issue. So notify other approvers. So we've enabled this in the marketplace. What this allows is if I look at an approval chain, give you an example. Adams Central, it's under accounts. If I look at Adams Central, they have 3 approvers listed here. This is an or statement. Any one of these users can approve a requisition. So Jamie or Jennifer or Allison can approve any requisition, but once one of those approves it, the others cannot. So what they've added is the capability. So if I'm Jennifer and I go in and make an approval or a denial on a requisition, Jamie and Allison are now going to receive an email notifying them that has been approved already, and they don't need to do anything about it. So it's just notification via email to these other approvers. And let me know if that becomes an issue. It's one of those things we got to turn on for the whole marketplace. So if a lot of people like it, we're going to probably leave it. If a lot of people hate it, we could turn it off. So, but that's been turned on for now at least. And then the last thing I have on this is the new update under admin users. If you edit a user, actually you don't edit. If you look at the details page, which is the blue page icon, you can look at information about that user. And some of the information that is provided is the last time that user was modified or their last login date. So I can say, you know, so-and-so calls me, Michelle, and says, you know, I haven't logged into the system for over 6 months, but there's some wonky stuff going on. I'm getting notifications I've placed orders. Well, her account has probably been compromised. We can come in here and say, yeah, the last login was this. And so we can, and she can verify with us and say, no, I didn't log in. So we can go in and change the password on the account or something. I've not had that happen. It's just throwing out a theoretical possibility. So, but it has helped us, myself already, in troubleshooting some stuff I was seeing with duplicate accounts. And I was able to go in and see one account was actually logged in and the other one was not, or the same account was logging in at the same time, but it was a duplicate account. So, so it's helped us in troubleshooting. So that's been added into the marketplace. Any questions up to this point? A lot of stuff, you know, some changes. These are mainly minor changes, so it's not really going to affect how you've shopped in the past. It just may change where the location of those items are. Okay. For new users, I guess one of the things, you know, coming into the marketplace, there are different ways I can search the marketplace. Aaliyah, did you have a question?
Yes, I did. I had a couple. When you are the approver, the final approver, and you are just at that, you know, at that screen where it has the shipping address and the billing address, it seems to be defaulting the email address or the name of the person that submitted the order into the billing. Is there a way to just have that be a default for your business office?
All right, I caught some of that. So on a final approval, let's just go over here and look at one of these. When I come in, I'm the final approver. If I say I'm editing this, requisition, and you're saying it's doing what now?
The shipping address and the billing address, they're the same, like the name and the phone number that's pulling over. But most of the time, the shipping address, that's putting the information in from whoever ordered it.
Right.
And that same person is showing up as the billing address. And I'm guessing for most people, that's not always the case. Is there any way for that to default in the billing address to your business office?
Well, in addresses, you set up what addresses are billing. So that it's really, so when you're receiving an invoice, is that what you're saying, that you're receiving them from the vendor and it defaults to this address?
The address is fine, but it's defaulting in the name field, the name of the person that ordered
Sure.
the item instead of like who's responsible for paying the invoices.
Okay. Yes. It should be though under addresses, when you have, and that's probably a bad example in production would be better. Let's just look at yours. So we have ones for receiving, so our business office and receiving. So if we look at this one, that is a billing address.
Right, but the name it's pulling over is not that one.
It's
the name
not.
of the person that ordered.
Okay. I'll have to look at that.
Yeah, because I've been having to go and I'm manually changing it, which is fine, you know, if you remember.
I thought we had discussed that last year with Equal Level, and we made some changes. So I can, Colleen, would you drop and kind of note that, have me check with Eric?
Yes, I'll do that.
The other thing I was wondering on the annual buy, I was wondering if you had it fixed. We had the last couple years, one of our vendors, I kind of think it was like an MNJ or one of the tech vendors that was in the annual buy. They were emailing the invoices to the person that submitted the order originally, not the approver. So it wasn't getting to us, and they were saying it was, 120 days past due or whatever it was, but they were sending it to the email address of the original, person that ordered the item.
And it needs to go to this attention field that's identified here, the deliver to on the bill address.
So when you aggregate now, are they even going to see the information from the original order individual?
Not the original, usually. Okay. Not, no. Unless they're the only ones that placed that order. But
well, they were the only person that ordered from that company.
Yeah. Then it does have their information, but they still should, this deliver to address should be the one. So email order delivery is, so can you tell me if it's a specific vendor that this is happening with versus?
It was a tech vendor, and I want to say they were from like Colorado, but I can't remember exactly.
Computers, etc. Then.
Yes, it was.
Yep.
You're right.
Okay.
And that 2 years in a row that happened to us, where they were saying they sent it, never received it.
Part of the problem is with these vendors sometimes too is it may be because they have it in their system as that. So you need to check with that vendor, make sure that the correct contact information in their system, because they have their own database of accounts, and for some reason they may have at one point chosen a teacher's name because they received an order on that, and that's what they put into their system.
Sure.
So it may not be on our part. It's coming from their accounting system themselves or their database, and that's always tough. We're still seeing account names that were set up when we were utilizing ESM, and so sometimes, trying to get those updated is difficult. So when we see that, we let the vendors know typically, though. So, okay. Any other questions? We'll have to do some follow-up on that, Aaliyah. Might be contacting you. All right, so before I move on then, or now I can move on. Multiple ways to search within the marketplace. Up above is that search that I talked about across multiple catalogs, to where those that have the magnifying glass listed here, I can search across those catalogs. So maybe it's a USB, and as you see, as I type, it's going to start auto completing and giving me a list. And so maybe I want a USB mouse or a USB drive or flash. I can choose that from the list, hit search, and it actually searches across those catalogs that have search enabled. The other way is, if I want to do a single vendor search, maybe I want to do that same search, but I know I want to order from CDW. I can click on the search icon down below and enter that USB again, and I can say search for flash drive, and I'm only searching CDWG now. And so that's one way. Another way then is to actually punch out to that vendor's website. So maybe the search up here doesn't search across theirs, and so like Insight, I know it doesn't search their catalog, but I know they have excellent pricing on technology items, so I want to do a comparison out here too. And so I'll go out and search that vendor's site specifically. And so we've been trying to get Insight to enable their search, but they just can't. They have to put development into it. So I can do that same search here. And so if I choose one of these here, I could search for this item, I could add it to my cart, I could bring it back into the marketplace, and then do my comparison side by side there. So pricing, so that's another way. So that's really how we search. To search the annual buy, we have to actually punch out to the store. So come down to the globe, click on the globe, it'll take me out to that store, and I can do a search for 100, 140 maybe, and search for that item. And it didn't find that item. If I search for 100,098, it would, because that's still in the catalog. And so then I could add that to my cart. One thing I would tell you is not to mix annual buy items in a shopping cart with year-round catalogs. And the reason being is you're going to have to approve that annual buy shopping cart. They're going to have to submit it. When they submit it, it's submitted as one requisition, so they're approving the requisition. And within the shopping cart, once you do that and make the approval, those year-round items are going to go out to the vendor, and you're going to get them within a couple days. And your annual buy items have been approved and be held till we aggregate and send them. So my suggestion would be shop the annual buy catalog first. Have your users submit those requisitions. Anything that they need additional that's not in the annual buy, then have them shop from the year-round catalogs. A quick way to identify as an approver, when I'm looking at a requisition, I can very quickly see that an annual buy item is going to have a co-op number, 200-120, listed in the descriptions here. Whereas these items here, I know right away that those were not ordered out of the annual buy because they don't have that 6-digit number in there. So that's a good way, good indication to know that they ordered it from another catalog, a year-round catalog. Okay. Another thing you're going to see in your shopping cart are these cart messages. And when I see these cart messages, pay attention to them. School Specialty is a good example. If you don't have a minimum order of $49, they're going to add $9.95 shipping charge. If I search up above here and add School Specialty items, I don't know that, I'm below that $49 unless I take the calculator and calculate it up. And so it's not going to add that $9.95 until you receive your invoice, and you're going to see a charge for $9.95. Well, it was because it was less than $49. So this is on the year-round catalogs. One thing with School Specialty, if you do punch out to their site and order something for less than $49, it will add the shipping and handling if you check out from their site. So if I punch out, go to their site, search their site, pencil maybe, yeah, and add this $1.27, add to my cart. When I go to checkout, and I'll scroll up and find my checkout here, view cart and checkout. If I say proceed to checkout, you'll notice right now it didn't have a $9.95 listed. When I get ready to check out, it adds that into it. And so when I hit submit, it does add the shipping and handling. It transfers my cart back into the marketplace. And down here is my box and shipping and handling for that, because I was below the $49 on that. So pay attention to those. The other thing is if I do a search for this particular part number, and let me reset that. And if I add this $50 one to my cart, because that part number, actually I'm going to add this one here, 44. And I view my cart. It gives me a cart message saying, oh, we found an item in your cart that there's a lower price out there. And so Brown & Sanger has that same item, and it explains it. It's $29.40, which is 34% less than the items in your cart. I can take a look at those side by side if I click on this compare item link, and I can look at the items to make sure and verify, yeah, they are the same item. And when I do that, I say, oh yeah, that is cheaper. It is the same item. I hit my back button and I can say replace item in cart. And when I did that, it took that shopping item here and replaced it with the Brown & Sanger one. So pay attention to those. It may save you some dollars. Okay. See what else. I've already explained punch out, cart checkout. So cart checkout. When I hit finalize my cart and I hit checkout down here below, this, now that's a new one. It says it could not verify prices since these items were imported over 7 days ago. It's recommended that you visit the supplier's site. I'm going to ignore it and say okay. And it's going out and it's going to verify that. So when I get to this point, this is where I mentioned earlier credit cards or purchase orders. I have the choice. If I choose credit cards, these are the only vendors that accept credit cards. Insight, M&J, and School Specialty. For my requisition that I have in my shopping cart, those are the only vendors. So Brown & Sanger does not accept credit card. So I just always recommend that you use the purchase order if at all possible. But choose that and hit checkout. Once you've done that, the last thing you have to do is there's 3 things right in blue: shipping address, billing address, and payment method. You can browse for your shipping address, choose the shipping address for the district that you want to ship it to. The billing address, you may only have one, so there's only one listed there. And this is where Aaliyah was talking about. It inserts somebody's name, so I'm going to have to do some testing on that, Aaliyah, to see if that actually is the person that submitted it. So I do remember having that conversation with them last year. And then the payment method, PO number. So you can assign a generic PO if it's the annual buy, have them put the teacher name in there maybe, When you go in and finalize those after the order aggregation, then you can assign a real PO number. But you can also break these out. Right now I've got multiple vendors in my shopping cart. I can assign a PO to each one of the vendors. So if I click on this link where it says enter different PO numbers for each supplier, I click on that, it breaks it out, and now I can assign multiple POs to different vendors. So like that. Okay. And then when I get done, I hit place order. When I hit place order as a user, it sends that requisition into approval chain. It has to go through the whole chain before it actually gets sent out to a vendor. It has to be approved by the final approver before it's actually sent. So that's cart checkout. And for the most part, that covers everything within the marketplace that I wanted to cover on the interface itself. Now we need to go in and look at approval chains, make sure that approval chains are correct. And so that's where we're at now. If you need to take a quick break to the restroom or something, this would be the time to do that. I'm just going to call on certain sites. We're going to look at your approval chains and make sure that there's no need for any changes. So I'm going to go in first. Looks like Monica, you're the first one in my upper left-hand corner. So Boyd County. Let's look at Boyd County. If you want to unmute Monica, then you can tell me if this is correct or not.
We're checking. We have a new superintendent, and we're going to double check with him to see if he wants to be part of the approval.
Okay.
And then if you want to come back to us.
Yeah, we can look at it real quick and see what it looks like now, and then you can.
Okay.
So it looks like we have 3 different approval chains. We have an elementary, a middle school, and then a final. And so my guess is just by looking at this, the elementary goes to one principal, the middle school and high school goes to a different principal, and the final approval may go to one of you as the business managers. So that's my guess. Just looking.
I want to say last year that I was one approval, and then it went to Sherry King, who's the bookkeeper for the final approval, and that was it. So
Boyd Elementary, it goes to Monica, yourself, when they choose the Boyd Elementary shipping address. So as a teacher, this is something to keep in mind. So if I have a teacher that teaches in the high school, middle school, and the elementary, if they choose, all right, we're getting, let me mute this, we're getting feedback. If they choose that address incorrectly, then it's going to send, maybe they're an elementary teacher and they choose the middle school address. It's going to send it through the middle school approval chain and then question why it did that. That's why. So, Monica, you're the approver for the elementary. We'll look at the high school, middle school.
Should be
Blair.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So then the final approval goes to Harry.
Yep.
So the superintendent doesn't look like they're involved in this right now.
No, they are not. And we have a new superintendent this year. So
Okay.
Sherry was going to ask him right now if he wants to be a part of this approval or not.
And if he does and he wants to receive both of these, what we can do is we can add a layer in here and just call it West Boyd Soup and add him in. We give it a priority code of 40, 20, probably 23. So then it goes from 22 to 23 before it hits this last one. And so that's very easy to do. So we can adjust that. We just need to know it. So, okay. All right. Thank you. Let's go to, well, Shonda Snore, but we already checked yours yesterday, so I'll go to Corinne Dusky. Madison High, right?
That's right.
Looks like we do have approval chains set up, so. So we have an elementary, 1, 2, and then we have a high school, 1, 2. So for the elementary, it goes to Andrew, as long as they choose the elementary address.
Correct.
And then it goes on to yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll bring this back.
There you go.
Then the high school goes to Jim.
Yes.
And then yourself.
Yes.
What I could do, we could make this easier, but we could remove this one and then just say final approval, but it's fine. It's working. It'd be the same thing. It just removes less processing, so.
Do you have to remove that or can I remove it?
No, I'd have to do it.
Okay. It doesn't make any difference either way, but yeah, it doesn't.
It works the same way, other than on the back end on the processing of it. It'd be a little quicker is all, but it's not, you're not going to see anything, so we
Okay.
won't mess with it.
Okay.
Okay, let's look at Newman Grove. Christy, did we look at this earlier or not? I can't remember.
No.
Oops, if I spell it right. So we must have it set on the account. Yep, so you're the sole approver in your district.
Can you add the superintendent for me?
All right, is he an approver already?
No.
Go in, well, what's the superintendent's last name?
Shalico,
Spell that, please.
S-H-A, I gotta write it down, L-I-K-O-W.
Okay. Doesn't look like he has a user yet.
Okay,
So either have him go in and register,
okay,
and once he's registered, then you go in and edit him as a user. And when you edit him as a user, make him an approver.
okay,
Once you've done that, then let me know. Tell me, email me, and just say, add him so and so. Give me his first and last name as an approver on our account. Yours, in doing that, the way it's set up right now, there's 2 different ways we can do this. So on the account, right now, if I add him here, it's an or statement. So you or the soup can approve it. But once one of you approves it, then it's already been approved.
okay,
Or we can set up an approval chain where it goes to the superintendent first. Once he approves it, then it comes to you and you do the final approval, basically just to assign a PO number to it before it goes out.
right,
So there's 2 different ways we can do that. So you discuss that with them and decide which
Okay.
way you want it set up. And we can do
Okay.
either way.
that sounds good, thank you.
Okay, yep. And that's Christy. Let's see. Let's go to Aaliyah. Any changes, Aaliyah? Are you there, Aaliyah? Maybe not.
We got muted.
You're the sole approver?
Yeah, Bill approves it on the PO level after, so.
Okay.
Question though, was there a way on the user level, if a specific user submits it, that it goes to an approver before it hits the approval process?
Yes. If you go into that user, how is that manager designee?
Yeah, okay.
Edit that user. And then you, down here, there's this manager button,
Okay.
but you have to have that user, the approver set up as an approver first.
Right, right.
And then once you do that, they'll show up in your list as an approver, and then you can select them. So what that does is that does insert, a 1-person level. You can't do multiple, but you can do a one person, and it works great for service units because you want it to go to the department chair,
Yep,
the director.
I'll set some of these up. I think that'll be great. So.
Yep, that was new last year. It came after the training, but so yeah, it's there. It works great for service units. Okay, let me just make sure you're checked off. Let's go to Sherry, you're Boyd County, so let's go on to Michelle at West Holt. Get over to accounts here. So we must have an approval chain set up. What's going on? Michelle, can you hear me?
Is it under Atkinson? Can you hear me?
Is it under what?
Atkinson, West Holt.
ATK?
Yeah.
Well, it should be West Holt.
I don't usually have a chain at all.
Okay. We need to, this is one that it probably, have you ordered in the past?
Yeah.
Okay. You probably want an approval of some type, at least going to yourself, right?
I thought we had that set up, but maybe not.
Would it be I'm just not seeing, because there's nothing set.
No, but I usually just go in and do all of the ordering myself. We don't really have anybody else going on there.
I would still, because it's really a protection, because right now the way it's set up, once a user makes an order, it goes out to the vendor. There is no approval of it. So if for some reason a user does get set up in your district, orders are getting released without anybody seeing it.
Okay.
And so I think we need to set something up at least, or investigate further to see if there's not already. But you're saying there isn't no approval process, so that's why we're not seeing a chain or anything.
Yeah, as far as I know, there's never been any.
Well, do you want me to just set you as the approver?
Yes,
can,
please.
Okay, let's do that. Let's see. All right.
LAE. There's an A before the E. Thank you. Whoops. Too many E's now.
Nope.
There you go.
Fat finger. There we go. There. Now at least if that happens, and you're going to have to approve your own. So when you submit your own requisition, you're going to get a approver. You have to go back in and approve it then. So.
Okay.
But it's just a level of protection for the district, I think, and I think it's needed. So.
Yep.
So great. Glad that's why we do this. Yep. That's one that we didn't catch previously. So. Okay, Christine, Norfolk. Let's look at Norfolk. Yep. I know you've got an approval chain. You got enough sites, right?
Everything should go to me.
Does it? Okay. Gosh.
Yep.
Just when I think I know, I don't. Okay, Norfolk Public, right?
Yep.
Everything comes to you? Yep. Okay. Sally, Skylar. I always SCHUY. There we go. Sally, I don't know if we have audio, but if you can chat me if this is right. It looks like it's an or statement, either yourself or Dan Hazing. Cannot make those approvals, so. If there's any changes that need to be made to that, because I don't think you have audio with me, or do you? Doesn't appear so. Email us if you need to make changes still. So.
She sent a message that says she thinks it's correct.
Okay. I'm not seeing the chat for some reason. That's why. Chat. There we go. Too many windows open, so. All right. Let's see. Who else do we need? S. Buckley. Trying to remember where you're from.
Plainview.
Plainview?
Yeah.
Okay. I knew I talked to you. Did we look at this the other day?
I don't think so.
Okay. So you're the sole approver here.
It looks like it.
Yep.
I believe that's what they told me. This is
that
my
what-
first year, and I just started about 6 weeks ago. So
Okay.
if you know, I've written a lot of notes today.
Great. Well, and just keep in mind that we do have all that video recorded, and that'll help you a lot. And we're always only a phone call away. So.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. I would go through some of this training that's online that you talked about. So.
Yep. Okay.
Yes, I believe that's what they said. I'll be the sole approver.
And if they want to change that for any reason, just call us and discuss it, and we can fix that and make changes if we need to. So. But
Okay,
right now,
sounds
that's the way
great.
it is. So. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Let me see. B Hup. I don't have you down. Can you hear me? Trying to find which school you're at.
O'Neill St. Mary's. I don't
Okay.
know. Is she on?
She's connected. I'm just,
Yeah,
let me
she-
unmute her. Can you hear me now, Brenda? Okay. Not hearing me, but we'll check it, and it's probably listed
She's
here.
chatting.
Okay. Oh, I got to do it right. There we go. Yep. So you're the sole, looks like Brenda, the sole approver in your district. Yep. Okay. Sounds good. I just got to write down where you're from so I remember. All right. Carm. Looks like Carm Tramer.
Ewing.
Ewing. That's why I write this down. It looks like we have an approval chain. So we got 3 levels. First
Yes.
one goes to yourself,
Yes,
then to Nancy,
correct.
and then does it come back to you?
It goes to our principal.
Greg Appleby?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, and that's correct, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Think I got everybody. Did I miss anybody?
Yeah, Elkhorn Valley is here with us.
Okay.
It would be Mary Dahl.
Mary Dahl.
Yes.
Didn't know what to do with these.
Okay, yeah, I'll do it. Take care.
And then I left your basket down at the.
Okay, so the first level goes to Mary.
It's here, and then, I don't know.
You are awesome. Thank
I
you.
know.
Second one will go to Darren Hahn. And third will go to Keith. Is that correct? Is that correct, Leah?
Yes. That's right.
Okay. Anybody else on from your site then?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. All right. So I think we have all the approval chains set up then correctly. If you do need to make changes other than new users, and if you use that substitute or go in and edit the old user and replace their information with the new user, other than that, if you need to make changes, you'll have to contact us to make those changes. We're the only ones that can actually go in and screw them up. So let's hope we don't screw them up. Just want to go through and see how much more we got here. Addresses, as agency admins, you have the capability of coming in here and adding your own addresses. And so you come over to admin, account management, addresses. You are in control of your addresses for your district if you're an agency admin. The one thing we need you to do this year, though, is make sure you go into each one of these addresses and check. Go ahead and click the edit and make sure that the email field, and this one is missing. If I jump over to our production site, let me look at one, make sure that we have one that has an address or an email listed there. I think Adam Central does. So if we check that, make sure the email field is populated with a person that is to check in items when they come to the district. This may be yourself or it may be somebody else. They need to be an agency admin. But what is going to happen this year, ESUCC, we're developing, well, we're having equal level. We're paying for equal level to develop the reports that you need to utilize for sorting and receiving. So what we're going to do is the person that's identified in this email field is going to receive, after the orders are sent to the vendors on the annual buy, this is only the annual buy, after orders are sent, it's going to send a report to this user, and it's going to give you a receiving report and a sorting report, 2 reports. The receiving report, most schools may only utilize that 1 report. If you're only one person in the district that is checking those items in, nobody else is helping you with that, I would probably utilize that 1 report, receiving. It's going to be sorted by vendor, then by item number. That way, when you get a shipment in from Brown and Sanger, you can go to that report, go to the Brown and Sanger section, and look at the report and say, okay, these are the items that I ordered from Brown and Sanger. And it's going to have the spreadsheet that we went through last year. So we had you go through and export your requisition item data, and then any changes that were made, you had to put in there and massage that data so you knew who ordered what off of the annual buy. If you had teachers in the marketplace. So if they're ordering items in the marketplace, it's going to have their name next to the number 2 pencil that they ordered. So you know that they get 2 of those. And so it really helps you on receiving items after orders have been placed, they're arriving. This is going to be your report that you're going to utilize. And if you get into this process and you have questions, give me a call. I managed ESU 11's warehouse for 17 years, so I know the process well. I can walk you through how to best do it probably. But that report is going to be the report that you're going to want to utilize when you're receiving product in. Now that's if you have teachers within the marketplace placing orders, it's going to keep track of them. If you do not have teachers in it and you enter the order, you're going to be the person. So then you would have to go into that report and then break out or put notes in each one of those items of who ordered what. So you're going to have to keep track of it somehow. We don't have a means to do that other than telling you it's easier to add teachers to the marketplace. And I know some school districts won't allow that. So, but that's what those reports are doing. We need to have this field populated so that user receives those reports. If for some reason you don't get your report, contact us. We're going to have a website we can go to, pull that report down for Boyd County, and send that to you if needed be. So, but make sure those are correct though. This field here on addresses. Another thing I kind of skipped over is if you're in here anywhere in the management, if I want to narrow something down to a user, if I'm in the users or addresses, for us, you've seen me utilize it a lot. When I was going through the approval chains, if I want to find a school district, this search capability and filter narrows things down. So if I'm looking for a user with the last name of Peterson, I can narrow that down very quickly, statewide for me, district-wide for you. And by entering Peterson and hit filter, it found all those users with the Peterson listed in there. So that nice little feature there. Utilize that to narrow things down, find things quicker. I use it all the time, and I know our staff does too. So getting close to the end here. I talked about deleting accounts, so I don't need to hit that. One thing that you may want to do is when you receive those reports, I talked about mail labels or labels for each product. You can do a mail merge. You'll take that either receiving or sorting report. The second report is really is if you are set up in a manner you're large enough that you receive the items in, you write the item number on a box and you slide it over, and maybe you have a high school student helping you. That high school student then can grab that box, look at the item number, go to that sorting report, find the item number in there and see who gets what, and package it up for each one of those teachers. The next step of that is, and then just having labels pre-printed for that student to help you, and pull that packet of labels out, and they go numerically and find that label and peel off and stick it on the product for each one of those teachers. It's going to have the teacher's name on it, and then that student then can deliver those products to each classroom then. This is how we did it as a service unit. A lot of service units printed labels. We'd always stick that label on the box usually and ship it out to the school. The difference is it had the school name on it, whereas yours would have the teacher name on it. Same process, just moving it down to your level. There is a way to do that from the reports that you're going to get, and you can print those out. I would print it out from the sorting report because that's already sorted by numerical order, and that's probably how the quickest way to find those labels is if they're printed in numerical order. And so I do not have a video on that recorded. I hope to get one though, post that up and make it available to you. If you need help with that, let me know. And I always used a Mako 5161 or an Avery 5161 label then for that. So, but works well, and you can send that out and put it on all the product. Let's see. I think we're to the end unless we have questions, I guess. One thing I do want to, before I turn it over for questions, I did mention or fail to mention a feature within the marketplace that we did add last year, is we have this message feature in the lower left-hand corner where you can send a message right now. If I click on that, I have to populate these with my information. I've got a form fill, so it does that. And I can type a message in. That message is us. We get that message and we can respond to you right from the marketplace. Your teachers can ask those questions. When we get into the ordering of the annual buy, this will change from send message to chat during office hours. And typically Colleen monitors this. If Colleen's gone, Priscilla or myself will turn this on, and we go in and monitor this, and you can live chat us. So if you've got a question, we'll be monitoring that during the ordering period at least. So other than that, I think I covered everything. Did I miss anything? Colleen, Priscilla, have any additions?
No, the only thing I always tend to mention this, but maybe the OLARC, the fact that you can chat, and maybe you mentioned it. I had a few phone calls and such.
Yeah, I just mentioned that. So.
Oh, okay, sorry. I had interruptions in and out. So no, I don't have anything.
Okay.
Craig, this is Sherry King from Boyd County.
Yes.
And Lynch and West Boyd went together to form Boyd County.
Yep.
And I think we're still listed under Lynch, but I don't know, you're going to have to, how do we fix that?
Okay. So it should be Boyd County. I think under accounts, I can actually, we typically don't have many schools, so this is new. LYNCH. And I mean, we can delete that account, but I don't want to delete it yet. Enabled. I think just saying no on this, because we don't have anything assigned here. So how do you know that it's under Lynch? What are you seeing that indicates?
Well, no, I mean, just last year it was. We ordered from Lynch last year.
Sure. Here's something we need before we do this. How many users were under Lynch versus Boyd County?
I think 2, myself and Amy Holtz.
Okay. Holtz, Holtz.
No, HOLZ.
So this needs to be Boyd County then. That's probably where we're seeing it. And which account, I guess? Probably this one, right?
Yeah.
So this one we could just, can we disable this account maybe?
Am I on the other ones? I didn't get to see when.
Yeah, you had the West Boyd.
Okay.
Is it West Boyd? Is that your domain name?
Yeah, it's Boyd County now.
At Boyd County?
Yeah.
No,
So
it's boydcounty.org.
So what you'll want to do is you want to update your email account. This is the one that's
okay.
Right. So go in, either you or somebody else update your account.
Right.
And then your username then becomes your new email.
Okay.
But yeah, you'll want to update that. This is okay. So I think we could disable this one, I think. We've disabled the account. We can make this inactive. Well, yeah, I can't make it inactive until I take care of the approval chains, but I think I can do this. See if it'll allow it. We can make the Lynch Public Schools. I think that's what I want to do. I'll have to double check with our tech person and see. Yeah, it's no longer, it's not enabled, so that essentially closed that account out, so we're not utilizing it anymore. So
okay.
I mean, I could delete the account, but I don't want to delete it really, because if we find some dependencies of other areas that we are not thinking of, then I'd want to be able to go in and fix them. So.
And did you go over the user accounts for the Boyd County? I was in talking with the superintendent.
Yeah. And one of the things, again, you can do this. So if you look at if you go to Boyd, your own, I can look at it this way. So these are the users that we have. And
Right.
it looks like all of them are West Boyd. So we need,
Do change that.
you need to go in and edit your users. This is what I was talking about. Good example, and change their, just so if I do the search on at West Boyd under my users,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to find all those matches, and then I can sit here and edit those. And so then I can change, I can change the username, but you only, when you change the email, it will change the username when you hit update. So just go through and plow through all those and update all those.
Okay.
And update their user emails. So it's exactly what I was talking earlier about. If your domain changed, then have you do that. So
yeah. And what about the approval chains? Did
I thought we checked those.
well, but see, I was then asking the superintendent if I missed that part.
Sure. Yeah, we went through them. The thing I didn't look, well, Lynch, if it's inactive, as long as I have, I want to check one thing under Lynch.
The Boyd County approval chains were correct, except for that Amy was not on there there was no approval chain for her, for Lynch's building.
So I guess with Lynch, these are the active users with the old ESU 8 email.
Right.
Those,
We'll have to change that.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have to add them to the Boyd County one.
Okay.
Right?
Well, yeah, you just have them, either that or just have them go out, re-register at the login page.
Okay. Okay.
With their new email address.
Okay.
And select Boyd, tell them to make sure they select Boyd County as the agency, and then that'll take care of it. You won't have to add them that way.
Okay.
That's the easy way. Yeah. I'm all about saving you work. So yeah, let's go look. I mean, those approval chains. We
Craig,
check. Yes.
I have another question though. When I went out on the site, we got Boyd County Elementary, which is Butte, Boyd County Middle School, High School, but Lynch has its own building, is going to be ordering for that building, and that isn't an option under the addresses.
Well, and you're as an agency admin, you have that capability, so you can add that address.
Okay.
The thing you want to keep in mind though when you do that is making sure that there's always going to be somebody there. So if you close that building down during the summer and you order annual buy product, truck rolls up, where are they going to deliver it to? And I mean, this is every school. We've had that happen. And so those are issues that you may want. But no, you as an agency admin, you can add addresses. So just make sure you, when you add an address, don't do a generic address like elementary. Make sure you name it West Boyd, your district name first. And the reason we do that is so we can find those addresses. And you've seen me doing some searches and not being able to find something. And you can go in and change the name of these addresses. Maybe it's not West Boyd and now it's Boyd Elementary. You can change that.
Okay.
Update it. That's not an issue. So if we need to connect, if you make some changes and you want to double check it, give me a call and we can look at it. So question I was looking here, why I wasn't seeing Boyd. Yeah, there it is. So we have an approval chain, Boyd Elementary, Boyd Middle High School, and West Boyd Final. So the first one goes elementary. If they choose the elementary address, it goes to Monica. If they choose the high school address, it goes to Blair. And on final, all of them, both of those, goes to Sherry.
That is correct.
That's, yeah. This isn't based on accounts. We may want to change this. Sherry, do you know if this is working correctly?
Yes, it did last year.
Okay, so as long as it's working correctly, then we won't mess with it. So,
Why don't you think it would be?
well, it's just the way this is. Anybody that has an account, and this is we can do it that way. That's fine. That's actually more efficient, I guess, in looking at this, because it would have two addresses listed in this. Rather than an account field would have shipping address. This actually works better for what you're doing.
Right now, and this year it'll have 3 addresses.
So we need to add. You need to add an address.
Yeah, we're gonna have the Lynch address.
Okay, so then we need to add West Boyd.
Well, we'll have to go in and change it to Boyd County, but yeah.
So we're going to call it Boyd County. Boyd County and just put Lynch, or is that an elementary or?
Yeah, it's elementary Lynch. You could put Boyd County Elementary Lynch.
ELEM Lynch is what I'll call it.
Okay.
And who's the approver for that?
Amy Holtz.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay.
I just need you to add the address first.
Okay.
If you can add that new address, come up to your admin, go to account management and add account addresses and click new address and put in Boyd County ELEM Lynch maybe as the description. And it's probably only a shipping address. It's not a shipping and billing. So just leave that and fill it out. So once you've done that, then I'll be able to set up the approval chain. So any other questions?
I have one, Craig.
Yep.
We use the year-round quite a bit, and one thing we've noticed is I know you can edit as the final approver. You can remove things from the order, but what we've noticed occasionally is we won't have met the minimum order for staples in one order, and then somebody else goes in and they submit another order. That one doesn't meet it, and we'd like to combine them so that we do meet the minimum order requirements, or be able to add to one of them and just delete the other one. Is that a possibility?
I think so. So let me just see. I don't have anything there. Let me do this in demo. See if we can replicate what you're trying to do. So here's 2 requisitions right here that are needing to be approved. Let's see if this works first. So if I go in and edit one of these, I know there's a way of doing this, and it's been a while since I've had to do it. So I have to get back with you on this, because I know there's a way to do it when we have aggregated orders for the annual buy. But I'm not seeing a way to do it here, or it's changed, or they've removed that capability. One of the things. There is a way I know. At one point I could do that, but I don't do it enough to know. So
Yeah.
let me.
If you want to get back to me on that, that would be
Yeah. Let me get with Eric and see if I can figure that out. And okay. Anything else? It's been a good one today. I will have to say ESU 8 is one of the top service units in the state on ordering through the marketplace. So little star at least for that. So, and if there's nothing else, I think we're done for the day. So I'll stop sharing and stop.